Walking down this rocky road, wondering where my life is leading, rolling on to the better end. Finding out along the way what it takes to keep love living. You should know how it feels, my friend. Oh. And we're live. Hey, this is Sean from Club Fed True Stories. Today, guys, I'm going to introduce you a good friend of mine who I've known for about 15 years. His name is James, and I asked him to do this video because he has been in jail a couple times and almost went to prison, but he made some good decisions and the right decisions after he got out of jail, and he didn't go to prison, and he's turned his life around. So I want to make this video to let people out there know that if you're facing prison time, if you're thinking about doing crimes, if you're out there using drugs, drinking, running around with the wrong crowd and stuff, you could end up in prison. Or if you're lucky enough just to go to jail, you can make the right choices and not go to prison. So I'm going to introduce my friend James. And James, I wanted you to say hi to everybody, and maybe you can let people know. Let's start with, how many times have you been in jail, James?
Hello, everybody. Thank you, Sean, for having me. It's not often that I talk about my wonderful past. I was in and out of jail between the years of 1998 and 2001. And I had a brief 4-hour stay in jail in the year 1988 for crashing a car along the fence of the highway. I never got prosecuted for that, but they did sober me up in jail for that.
And you've been in what, Redwood City County Jail, San Jose County Jail,
Well,
San Jose Elmwood Camp Jail,
guess
right?
a lot of the issues, I don't want to promote stalker fans like Sean's got, but a lot of my stuff was in the Northern California Bay Area. Elmwood County Jail, which is kind of like a jail camp, and with barracks and a field you can walk jog around, and then also in the main jail in Redwood City, where you're inside the whole time.
Yeah, the yard's on the roof, I believe.
Well, the yard or the area, when they let you out of jail, it's just another enclosed pen where you may mix with the others and maybe, talk to them if you have anything to say, and just get a little breathing room. Maybe allow your cellie, your roommate, to do some perhaps paperwork that he left, so you could exit the cell, if you know what I mean. Paperwork.
Can jail be a dangerous place?
Even jail could be dangerous, but I don't recall ever having been in danger. There was a guy at Elmwood who he got killed, but he owed like a drug debt, or he was a gang member or something, and they let him have it. They shut everybody down. But if you haven't any ties to any organized crime or any drug dealers or anything, and you don't owe people money, and they've got friends waiting in jail, then it's not a concern.
Well, James has a really good story I want him to tell about how he almost went to prison, because we're both in recovery, and I'm not trying to ruin your anonymity, but AA saved my life, and a lot of other people out there. So today I got my 4 years clean and sober. I got the first 3 the hard way in prison. James didn't have to go through all that, but he almost did. You want to tell the viewers out there about how you almost went to prison?
I'd rather not. Okay, I will. Well, I was on Prop 36, I think was the name of it, and otherwise known as drug court. and I was arrested with drugs. Actually, I didn't have them, but I had a friend who was waiting for me down the street, and I made the purchase. And then when I noticed the police were there, I left them in a bush, and the policeman said that they were holding my friend and that they would not release him unless I told them where the drugs were. And I'm not a savvy crook or criminal, and I was mostly concerned about having my friend being released, and I didn't think that they can't hold him if neither one of us are guilty of anything. But I was a little tipsy at the time, and I was mostly concerned about getting Eric freed up. So I said, "Yeah, it's over there," and they got it. And I guess they had already let him go, and they took me to jail. That was my second offense, and I learned that I was facing 3 years of felony. What do you call it? I call it 3-year felony, prison bound, pick up Bubba soap, probation. That's what they put me on. So I chose drug court over a court case where I would have been found guilty because I had a prior under the influence, and I had just purchased some cocaine, which they got in the bush. So
weren't you told you're not prison material by your
well, yeah. So going in and out of the system, I was very stubborn, or my illness, my disease of addiction was very stubborn, and I would not. They gave me increasing chances. I was in a sober living home for 6 months, but then I drank on a weekend, so they stepped it up to a 90-day inpatient program. And after I was released, the day I got out, I drank again, and then they stepped it up again. And with each successive usage or drinking event, they stepped it up, and up to the point where I was in jail for the last time. And this is the story Sean's talking about. And I was sitting in jail thinking, wow, here I am, 2 months, 11 days into my 3-year felony prison bound, pick up Bubba soap, probationary period, and here I am on my way to prison. Maybe I have this alcoholism, addiction thing they've been talking about. Maybe I have to actually try out their 12-step procedure. And I thought, well, I'll have plenty of time to work the steps in prison. Prison!
Like I did.
Yeah, that's right. I'm going to prison. I'm going to have to protect myself. I'm going to have to be like Nicolas Cage in that movie Con Air. Anyone see that movie? I'm going to do push-ups. So if Bubba tries to punk me in the shower, at least I go down swinging. And I can learn Spanish. Donde está mi margarita? And I could do origami. I was already good at making those little bindles already. And the next day my probation officer came to see me, and he said, "James, you've given me no choice but to send you to prison." And I slumped in my chair. But then he said, "But I'm going to get you out here today." He said, "You're not prison material." I was a little offended. "What do you mean?" "Oh, never mind. He said, "You have less than a month on probation. I'm going to get you out of here today. Just don't mess up again." I came out of that cell crying. And all these tough guys like Sean were eating their lunch. "Whoa, bro, what happened?" "He's letting me go." And that's when I went back to my recovery fellowship, Eaton Avenue fellowship, with a whole new attitude and outlook on life. And I decided to change my life right then and there.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to ask. What made you change your life? Prison, people being scared of going to prison, it didn't stop me. I mean, I knew years ago if I kept doing what I'm going to do, I'm going to end up in prison one way or the other. And it just didn't stop me. I tried. I had my little attempts of trying to recover, but now I think I finally got it, but I had to do it the hard way. So for you, what did you do to turn your life around? Because, I mean, I know you dove into recovery, and you did the AA thing, and you all did, but what? How did you keep doing it? Was it because of your family, your parents, your friends? Was it God? Was it just some kind of internal switch that made you light up and think, this is not the path I want to live?
You know, the night before, my probation officer let me go, the last time I was in jail, I remember thinking, I really have a problem. I've tried many ways of overcoming it with my own thinking, and none of my ideas have worked. And so I made a decision then that there was a problem, and that when I went to prison, which I was confident I was going, that I would find help there, because I knew people had gotten help there, and that it had come to this. And you know, I was relieved that there would be several years of you know, interrupted drug and alcohol use, but I did not know what to expect. But I knew right then that I had a problem. If I can't follow simple instructions and do what everyone else normally does to avoid going to prison, then there's something not right about me. And I always say I went from pre-med to on probation. My parents are very proud of me. And so that's what happened for me. A little switch was flicked on the back of my neck. And I always say, you know, no human power could have flicked it, because the judge reasoned with me, family begged, you know, the jobs. I was very good at everything I did. It's just that I had to sneak away and have this time. It was very painful. And in the end, I wasn't even enjoying myself, but I had to slip away, you know, drink and do drugs. And I always knew someday that I would stop, but I didn't know how. And that was the switch that flicked. And I went back to my sponsor. I had a sponsor who I hadn't listened to, and I said, Jeff, I don't know what to do. Please tell me exactly what to do, and I'll do that. And this time something weird happened. I listened. So it's no fault of my own.
You know, I know when you go to prison, you find out who your real friends are. You'll find your especially white collar criminals, this non-violent guys. Your family will run away. Your best friends will run. My girlfriend left. Everybody leaves. And you find out who your friends are. James is one of the friends who did not do that. He showed up to my court hearing and spoke to my judge right before I got sentenced. James wrote me letters in prison. I wrote back and forth. He put money on my books. He's still been there for me today. He held my chair in AA, so when I got out of prison, I had a place to go. And I've watched this guy help, I know, countless people that get out of prison and get out of jail. Right now I got these 7 people I've been talking to on the phone that are all going to go to prison this year. They're all on pretrial. A couple of these guys are in recovery. There's Joseph, Kilo, Terrell, Miguel, Peter, Wesley, Angie. All you guys, thanks for calling me. You guys are going to get through this. Your life's not over. Like I say, you're going to a camp. You're going to a low. You're going to get through all this. James, I just want to say, do you have a message for people like these guys that I just mentioned? A few of them are in recovery right now, but do you got a message for these people facing prison?
Yeah.
Any advice for them?
Well, stick with guys like Sean. I know Sean started some meetings where he was, and he was really trying to improve his life. And sticking with people like Sean, who are actively working and creating ways for other people to improve their lives. You know, this is a guy you want to get close to. Some people aren't trying to change their lives, but like Sean and like myself, something happened and I had to change. And so my hope is that you guys, this flicks that invisible switch of willingness on the back of your neck and makes you desperate to get a good life. I mean, I've got a great life now. I've got everything I always wanted. I've got clean
for a lot of guys. You help a lot of guys that come out of prison, come out of jails, and, right?
Well, part of the way I keep what I have, which is clean laundry, money in my pocket, and a car with matching license plates. Part of the way I keep that is by hanging out with guys like Sean, and I have one hand reaching up to my sponsor and people who've been here a long time, and I reach another hand out to help someone else. And by being in the middle, both of my hands are full and I can't pick up that drink or drug because my hands are full. Of course, now it's COVID. Wash your hands. But, you know, that's really sticking around people like this and, you know, starting to tell yourself that you're worth it and that people say that they're, you know, a piece of garbage and this and that. And this self-talk is really hypnosis. It's not good. So I mean, it's a very simple thing is whatever the 10 most negative things you tell yourself are, I would write down on a piece of paper, turn them into positives, and recite them to yourself, you know, several times a day, maybe morning, noon, and night. Say it to yourself over and over and over until you actually walk into it. I have a lot of declarations that I say, you know.
That's very good advice. And you know, he talks about that self-talk. I know a lot of you guys are on pretrial, and it's like the world's coming to an end for you. I mean, I thought about suicide. I didn't do it, thank God. Obviously, I'm here today. But, you know, the feds even sent me to a therapist, and I couldn't talk about suicide because if I did, they would have locked me up and made it worse. And there's just nobody to talk to. It's like, so when you're on pretrial, and I was on it for 4 years, I know I'm going to prison, but nobody believes me. They think they don't let you just walk the streets, and you've been, what, 3 years on pretrial. You're not going to prison. You're going to get probation. And nobody believes that you're going to prison, but I knew I was going to prison. That's the way the feds are. That's the game they play, and that was the hardest part, was before I went to prison. Once I got to prison, it was just all downhill from there, and thank God I only had to go to a camp. I don't know if I could have made it in a penitentiary, but I don't ever have to find that out. You know, today I have choices. You guys have choices out there. So, you know, I make all these videos to help people that hopefully never go to prison, or if you're facing prison. I got a lot of links on my description there about how to get an RDAP and, you know, what to bring to prison. I think I got about 40 videos. There's one on self-surrender, all the things you should do before you prepare to self-surrender. But, you know, my phone number's on there, my email's on there, and, you know, I'm not trying to make money off you guys like some of these prison consultants. I'm just trying to give back, because some people gave back to me before I went to prison. So, you know, whatever I can do to help, and the guys who have already talked to me on the phone, they know that, man. And you know, I'm trying to pay it forward, and I don't ever want to go back to prison. And James,
Sean's the real deal. I've known Sean a long time. I wish I had more time to tell you the stories. If you want to hear Sean's stories, you can write him, and I'll give you my email, and I'll tell you all about this cuckoo clock over here.
I think I've been to 11 residential drug treatment programs since I was 20 years old, and I don't know if any of them worked. The last one was a prison rehab, and it worked. I mean, so far. You know, it's one day at a time, guys. It's one day at a time. I don't know what I'm going to do tomorrow, but I know if I keep doing what I did today, which is stay clean, stay sober, don't break any laws, help other people, you know, I just do the right thing. When tomorrow comes, it should be a repeat of today. You know what I mean? Do you have any?
Yeah, one thing about Sean, Sean enjoys karaoke and music a great deal. And we're both kind of performers. Sometimes I do some clean and sober comedy. And I do some speaking at some of our recovery events. And I was involved in a play on the history of recovery in Northern California. And I played a prison inmate in San Quentin Prison, one of the first inmates who wrote to Alcoholics Anonymous. And like Sean did in Florence, Colorado, Ricardo contacted Alcoholics Anonymous and got the first meeting started in San Quentin Prison. So I played Ricardo, and part of my performance was reading a letter as Ricardo, reading it to Alcoholics Anonymous. And Sean was doing his term at Florence, and we wrote back and forth. I said, I'm rehearsing a lot. I'm sorry I haven't had the time to respond and write as quickly as I would have liked. And Sean said, you know, someday I want to do one of those prisons too. So I took Sean's letter, and when I was on stage instead of using the prop letter, I used Sean's letter so Sean could be in the play with me. So I thought it was really cool that I was playing Ricardo from San Quentin Prison reading Sean's letter
From a guy actually in prison.
from a guy in prison so he could be in the play. So, you know, there is so much beyond what you think is possible available in your life. I'll say that again. There was so much more available than what you think is possible with your limited thinking. And if you do end up going to prison, meet with the right people, educate yourself, improve yourself, use it as a timeout to make the life you want. And you too can have your own YouTube channel.
All right, guys, I think that's about it. And I just, God bless you guys watching this video. You're gonna make it through this. And for people that aren't going to prison, just continue to make the right choices. You don't ever have to go. You don't ever have to live the life I did. You know, that's it.
If you're lucky, you'll live the life I am.
Thank
Same
you,
with
guys.
Sean.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks for having me, Sean.